Okay, let's just jump right in. I have a question for you, and I want you to really sit with it for a second.
Okay.
Don't just brush it off. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, or maybe, a late-night dorm room conversation.
I'm intrigued.
But our sources today are suggesting it's actually a question that ancient civilizations were asking thousands of years ago. Here it is. Are we living inside a cosmic AI?
It is a massive question, and it's one that it instantly shifts how you look at the world around you.
Totally.
Once you really entertain that thought, everything looks a little different.
Right, like, is my coffee real? Is this microphone real? Are you real? But we aren't just speculating today.
No.
We are doing a deep dive into a fascinating piece of material titled Vedic Physics, Decoding the Cosmic Simulation.
And the mission here is, well, it's pretty wild.
It is. It's attempting to bridge the gap between the absolute cutting edge of modern technology,
We're talking artificial intelligence, neural networks.
space exploration,
Yeah.
and the ancient wisdom of the Vedas. What stands out to me is how it frames that convergence. Usually you have science in one room and, spirituality in another, and they don't really talk to each other.
Kept very separate.
But this source is bringing together things that usually sit at opposite ends of the library. On one side, you have the rigorous logic of institutions like the Indian Institutes of Technology, or IIT.
And hard data from NASA space discovery.
And on the other side, you have the mysteries of Shiva and the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta.
It's the ultimate mashup. NASA meets Shiva.
It really is.
Yeah.
And honestly, reading through this, I was struck by how seamless the connection felt. It didn't feel forced at all. The source material opens with this really provocative idea.
The core metaphor.
Yeah. What if consciousness, that thing that makes you you, the eye behind your eyes, is actually part of an infinite neural network?
And that's such a powerful metaphor because we are just starting to understand neural networks in our own technology. If we look at the universe through that lens, what we call life might actually be best understood as a biological simulation.
Oh, I love that. A biological simulation.
Yeah.
It really sets the stage. We're used to hearing about simulation theory from, tech billionaires in Silicon Valley
Right. They talk about pixels and rendering.
and computing power. But this source takes that concept and layers it over spirituality. It's not just about code, it's about the purpose of the code. So let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it.
Section 1 is all about the science of Maya.
And this is where we have to talk about one of the most famous puzzles in science. If you've ever watched a documentary on quantum physics, you've definitely heard of this. The observer effect.
Oh, the observer effect. I feel like I hear this mentioned at parties whenever someone wants to sound smart. The cat is both dead and alive.
That whole thing.
But break it down for us in this context. What are we really looking at here?
So at its simplest level, the observer effect in quantum physics suggests that the act of observing a phenomenon, it changes the phenomenon. It comes from the famous double slit experiment. When they fired particles, electrons, through slits, they behaved like waves. But the moment they put a detector there to watch which slit the electron went through,
The behavior changed.
it stopped acting like a wave and started acting like a solid particle.
So simply by looking at it, reality itself changed its behavior.
Exactly.
Hmm.
The observer, in a way, creates the scene. The particle doesn't choose a state until you look at it. Before that, it's just potential.
So the reality out there isn't fixed until there's an observer in here. That is mind-bending.
It
It implies the world isn't just a stage we walked onto. Our presence is actually painting the set.
Precisely. And here is where it gets really interesting. The source material argues that if you look deeply at this scientific puzzle, it's actually the same principle as the ancient theory of Advaita.
Advaita. Non-duality.
Non-duality, meaning there isn't a separation between the observer and the observed.
Not to.
Right. Advaita literally means not to. The source makes the claim that what modern science calls simulation theory, this idea that reality is a construct dependent on the viewer, is exactly what the Vedas called Maya thousands of years ago.
Maya. The illusion of a separate physical reality.
Yes.
So Maya was basically the original virtual reality headset.
In a manner of speaking, yeah, but it goes deeper than just a headset. A headset implies you can take it off and you're still in a room. Maya suggests the universe itself is the projection.
Okay, the interface.
It's the interface we use to interact with consciousness, and the source makes a fascinating connection to cosmology here. Think about dark matter.
Okay, dark matter. That's the stuff scientists know is there because of gravity, but they can't see it or measure it directly. It's the invisible glue of the universe.
Correct. Scientists are hunting for it. They know it makes up most of the universe, but it doesn't reflect light. It's completely invisible to our sensors. But our source suggests that what they are looking for,
Yeah.
this invisible underlying structure, might be what the Vedas describe as the unmanifest, or avyakta.
Avyakta.
Yes. It refers to the unseen power from which the entire mystery of the universe unfolds. It's the source code before it gets rendered onto the screen.
That is a huge thought, that science is looking for physical matter, building these massive colliders, but they're actually bumping into this ancient metaphysical concept. It's like they're trying to find the server room of the simulation by analyzing the pixels on the monitor.
That is a great analogy. And the takeaway here is that the mystery of the universe isn't just about rocks and stars and atoms. It's about that unseen connection between the observer you and the reality you project.
It makes the ground feel a little less solid beneath your feet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But in a cool way.
In a cool way.
It makes you feel more involved. Okay, so if we are in this simulation or this Maya, how do we operate within it? That leads us to the next big theme, hacking.
Specifically, the difference between hacking the body and hacking the soul.
This part really grabbed me because biohacking is such a buzzword right now.
Yeah.
Everyone is taking ice baths, tracking their sleep data, popping supplements.
Those rings that track your heart rate variability.
Exactly. We are obsessed with optimizing our biology.
We are. We treat the body like a machine that needs fine-tuning. We want to live longer, run faster, think sharper. But the source material throws a real curveball here.
What's that?
It says that while people are busy biohacking the body, the real hacking needs to happen to the mind's coding.
The mind's coding. I like that phrasing. Because if we're in a simulation, the code is what dictates the experience. You can polish the hardware all you want, but if the software is glitchy,
you're still going to have a bad time.
Yeah, exactly. And the source uses a very specific computer metaphor to explain what's holding us back. Legacy code.
Ooh, legacy code. For anyone who hasn't worked in tech, that's that old, clunky software that's still running deep in the background of a system.
Yeah. It's hard to delete, it causes bugs, and it slows everything down.
Yeah.
It's like when you have a modern computer, but it's still trying to run a printer driver from 1998.
And in this context, legacy code represents your memories, your fears, your old habits. The source refers to these as sanskars. They are the outdated scripts running in your mental system.
That is so relatable. You know, you react to something in a certain way. Maybe you get angry in traffic or anxious before a meeting, and it feels automatic. It doesn't feel like you are choosing it. It feels like a script executing.
That's the legacy code running. It is. And the source frames this as the central conflict of human existence, soul versus body.
The body just wants to run its loops.
It wants safety, it wants comfort, it wants to repeat what it knows. But the soul is trying to break through. And understanding this dynamic, that you are fighting against your own outdated software, is what the source defines as true self-discovery.
So, if we're full of this buggy legacy code, how do we debug? How do we fix the glitch?
Well, the source offers a specific solution, and it's not a software patch you can just download.
That would be too easy.
It's called Bhakti Marg.
Right, the path of devotion. Now, usually, when we hear devotion, we think of religion in a traditional sense. Kneeling, praying, rituals.
Right. But keeping with the Vedic physics theme, the source describes this functionally.
I love the analogy here. It calls Bhakti Marg a car wash for the mind.
It's a vivid image, isn't it?
It really is. It's not about adding more data, it's about cleaning off the grime. The idea is that this process clears out that old legacy code, so you can finally catch a clear signal.
And that signal is described as the frequency of eternal truth, or Param Satya.
Param Satya.
Think of it like a radio. If your tuner is covered in mud, that's your legacy code, your traumas, your biases. You just get static. You might hear snippets of the music, but it's distorted. Bhakti Marg cleans the tuner so you can receive the broadcast clearly.
It's interesting because in the West, we often think of learning as adding info. Like, I need to read more books, I need to listen to more deep dives like this one.
Yeah.
But this is saying, no, you need to delete files.
You need to clear the cache.
Exactly, clear the cache. So we've got the simulation, which is Maya, the buggy software, the legacy code, and the debugging tool, Bhakti. This brings us to the integration of it all.
Yes.
The source makes a pretty bold claim that science and spirituality aren't actually enemies. They're just doing different jobs.
And this is a crucial distinction. We live in a world where you're often expected to pick a side.
Yeah, you're a science person or a faith person.
Exactly. But the text defines science as reading the shadow.
Reading the shadow, what does that mean?
Well, if we go back to the idea of the simulation or the projection, imagine a movie theater. There's a beam of light hitting the screen. Science studies the projected world on the screen.
Okay.
It measures the physical universe, the laws of nature, the atoms. It's studying the effect, or the shadow, of reality.
Okay, so science is measuring the screen, checking the pixels, analyzing the frame rate. It's very good at describing what is happening on the screen.
It is.
But what is spirituality doing then?
Spirituality is defined as knowing the me, knowing the self. It's turning the attention away from the screen and looking back at the projector. Or even further, looking at the person watching the movie.
Wow. And the source says that when you combine these two, reading the shadow while knowing the self,
That is the birth of Vedic physics.
that's the sweet spot.
Yes. It suggests that you can't fully understand the universe just by measuring it because you're missing the source. And you can't fully navigate it just by sitting in a cave and meditating because you have to live in the physical world.
You need both.
You need to understand the mechanics of the simulation and the nature of the consciousness experiencing it.
It really changes the perspective on learning, doesn't it? It's
Mm.
not just about gathering terabytes of data. It's about understanding the source of the data processing, which is you.
It's closing the loop.
It is
And that leads to the ultimate goal of this deep dive,
the exit command.
the exit command.
It sounds ominous, but also kind of liberating. We're trapped in this loop of legacy code and Maya. So how do we get out? How do we stop the game?
Well, the source points to one specific question.
It is.
Who am I?
That's it. Just, who am I? It sounds so simple. I mean, philosophers have been asking that forever. It's on every inspirational Instagram post.
True, but in the context of this cosmic AI, the source argues that who am I isn't just a philosophical pondering, it acts as an executable command.
An executable command, like hitting Control-Alt-Delete.
In a way, yes. Think about how we usually answer that question. If I ask you, who are you? You'll say, I'm a host, or I'm from New York, or I'm a parent.
Right. I give you my stats, my bio.
But those are all parts of the simulation. Those are attributes of the avatar. When you ask, who am I, with genuine intensity, and you reject those surface answers, no, I'm not my job, no, I'm not my body, you are challenging the simulation.
You're refusing to identify with the avatar.
You're looking for the user behind the screen.
So asking this question breaks the loop. It stops the automatic script from running because the script depends on you believing you are the avatar.
Correct. The goal, according to the source, is to take you to a level where your consciousness completes a system update.
A system update. I like that we're sticking with the tech lingo because it makes it so much easier to visualize. We are walking around running Windows 95, crashing all the time.
Right.
And this question is how we upgrade to the latest OS.
And that upgrade brings a massive shift in identity. The final realization the source points to is this. You are not part of this machine. You are its programmer.
Whoa. Let's just pause on that for a second. You are not part of the machine. You are its programmer.
It's a total flip.
It is. Usually we feel like we're just cogs in the wheel, right?
Yeah.
Life happens to us. The economy crashes. The weather is bad. We get sick. We feel like victims of the simulation.
That's the default setting, but this is saying,
Right.
no, you wrote the code. It empowers you completely.
So the legacy code we talked about earlier, the fears, the habits, the anxieties, they aren't permanent.
They're just lines of code you wrote in the past.
And if I wrote them,
You can rewrite them.
that connects everything back together. The observer effect, we create the reality. The biohacking, we need to hack the mind, not just the body. The exit command, realizing we're the ones in charge. It's a really cohesive argument.
It is. It moves spirituality from being something passive-like, waiting for a blessing from the sky, to something active. You are debugging. You are updating.
You are programming.
It demands engagement. You can't just sit back and watch the movie. You have to realize you're directing it.
It's empowering, but it's also a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
You can't blame the glitchy software on Microsoft anymore if you're the head developer.
That is the trade-off. Freedom comes with responsibility. But the view from that perspective, the view of the programmer, is much clearer than the view from inside the glitch.
Yeah.
You stop taking the bugs so personally. You see them as things to fix, not things that define you.
I like that. I'm not broken, I'm just debugging.
Mm-hmm.
So, to recap the journey we've been on today,
Let's do it.
we started with the idea that we might be in a cosmic AI, a biological simulation that the Vedas called Maya. We looked at how modern science's search for dark matter parallels the ancient search for the unmanifest.
We then discussed the legacy code holding us back, our old memories and patterns, and how the path of devotion, or bhakti, acts as a cleanser for the mind, essentially a hard drive format for the soul.
We saw how science reads the shadow while spirituality reveals the self, and how combining them gives us this framework of Vedic physics. And finally, we discovered the exit command.
The inquiry, who am I?
That triggers the ultimate system update.
Leading to the realization that you are not the machine, you are the programmer.
It's a lot to take in, but it definitely gives you a different way to look at your day-to-day life. Next time you find yourself stuck in a bad habit or an old fear, or you just feel overwhelmed.
Wait, this is just legacy code.
Exactly. It gives you the distance you need to change it. So here is the thought we want to leave you with today. It's a challenge, really. If we accept the premise of this source material, that you are indeed the programmer and not the machine, then the keyboard is in your hands right now. The cursor is blinking. The screen is blank. What is the next line of code you choose to write for your life?
That is the only question that matters.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll see you next time.